any account manager worth their salt is facing a sense of urgency and competition and stuff like that, right? From AI and from other account managers who are learning how to use AI. Everybody's reacting to the next thing that AI can do, which you will find yourself becoming slowly redundant. How can AI be a partner for whatever I'm doing in terms of account management?
When AI is killing the account manager's story, how can they fight back?
If you're an account manager, can you hold on to your job today? I think it's a big problem today with account managers and their fight with AI, because AI can literally create presentations in a jiffy, right? AI can actually create reports in half a jiffy, and AI can literally make sure that you're not missed at all as an account manager for your strategic perspective. So, in such a scenario, account management in any service-led company, whether it's an agency or a consultancy or anything of that sort, is becoming a very threatened function. So in this episode, what we are going to try and figure out is how can an account manager actually hold her own in a world which is being driven by AI, and how can storytelling actually be useful for somebody in a world of AI, especially if you're an account manager.
So before we delve into our discussion today, let us look at what are the core responsibilities of an account manager. First is, and most importantly, is the account or client nurturing. Then is managing the deliverables from your creative team, from your various stakeholders. Then client pitches in a way that translates the creative team's vision, which fits perfectly as a solution to the client's pain points. But the problem here is AI can now automate up to 90% of your traditional account manager tasks. There are AI tools like for GTM, managing pipelines, lead nurturing, CRMs, and let us not even mention your run-of-the-mill AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude that are used for emails and pitch decks. So the work that a human account manager used to take hours to do can now be done within seconds. So this seriously puts account managers that used to rely solely on administrative abilities at risk of not just losing their jobs, but becoming irrelevant sooner rather than later if they don't rise above what your average AI can do. So this brings us to the burning question today. When AI is killing the account manager's story, how can they fight back?
Here's something that most account managers can do very easily to make sure that they remain on top of things. Any account manager worth their salt is facing a sense of urgency and competition and stuff like that, right? From AI and from other account managers who are learning how to use AI really well for doing their jobs. If you fight back tactically, you're going to be lost. What I've seen account managers get into is just try to react to the latest AI. So, oh, today I'll use Grok, tomorrow I'll use this, and I'll use this hack that I've learned on LinkedIn, and I'll use this sort of thing. And what we find is that it's superficial level battles in order to provide some sort of leverage or some sort of brownie point or some sort of advantage in this world wherein everybody is reacting to the next thing that AI can do, which you will find yourself becoming slowly redundant for. So in such a case, I think the first thing an account manager has to consider is to take a step back and decide that they need a reboot. You have to go beyond just responding tactically to what AI is capable of doing, but actually ask yourself, how can AI be a partner for whatever I'm doing in terms of account management?
What is AI good at? Data analysis, your documentation, your generations, right? Anything basically that can be automated. Now you look at plugins like Tableau, Power BI, Salesforce, Einstein, right? So they are making the comprehension and retention of data so much easier through their storytelling, through their charts, or through their data analytics tools. Agencies have reported in the past that there is a 23% increase in client retention by using AI powered analytics. So maybe as an account manager, you use AI for these retention tactics to understand your client's business, like you said, so that you can get in the foundations where you can feed the actual data or the nuances rather of what the client stands for into the AI to better understand how you can leverage that AI to fit into that story that makes you as the conduit, not just between the different stakeholders, but between what an AI can deliver and what the client is looking for.
If you're just going to represent the data that is being regurgitated through an AI tool and just add a little bit of masala, it's not going to work, because we are human beings. We are very intelligent in understanding, this is content, this is advertising, this is AI, this is not AI, and stuff like that. So you are in a situation as an account manager wherein you have this wonderful opportunity to create trust. If you can own the data, imagine that you get the best possible answer from Claude or Gemini or whatever it is, and then you look at it and say, okay, how can I own this? How can I make this better? What are the things that I have not considered? What are the things that Claude has not considered? And the problem is that we are as human beings, we are always trying to save energy. So what tends to happen is that we are trying to save on cognitive cycles. So the great temptation is to put the same thing back into the AI system and get an answer which is marginally better than the others. But what I have noticed is that if you can do that for a few few times, and it's not going to take you too long. But eventually, once you get an answer which you think is pretty good and it's all right, is when you actually have to put yourself to the test and say, okay, so what is the angle that I'm missing over here? How can I own this story? And this is where you can literally develop completely new thoughts by keeping your mind open to your own database that is in your head. You then might look at different sectors, then you might look at different categories, then you might look at different insights, then you might look at some foresights, not just insights but foresights about how it's going to unfold in the future. You might look at customer behavior, you might look at weak signals, you might look at strong signals, you might look at inflection points in the past, you might look at inflection points of the future, whatever it may be. So you are going to then start owning data, and you're going to think in different ways.
So it depends on your brain as an account manager to bring all of that pattern recognition in a way that is fits into what the client is looking for. And now think, okay, I know that this is what my client wants. My question is that only what an Indian client wants? Can I also look at a new market in perhaps UAE, or can I help my client grow into a different market, or perhaps I can help my client bring out a new product that would also help my, say, advertising part of the agency come out with a get cross-sold or upselling can happen, right? So as an account manager, I stop being the data guy or the guy who that just as a postmaster, and I become a business developer for my client.
If you put yourself in the client's shoes, okay, yeah, and if an account manager walks in the room, okay, is the account manager walking in the room, or is just AI walking in the room? Here's what I used to do with people who asked me, how do you manage to teach a class without PowerPoint, right? And I did that because I decided that it was actually sucking away the ownership from me, right? So PowerPoint was sucking away the ownership from me. So I just decided, okay, I'm not going to use PowerPoint at all, okay, unless and until it was absolutely necessary. But still, people used to ask me, yeah, if you had to create a PowerPoint presentation, how will you make it? So I had a very weird answer for that. I said, okay, I would write a Word document first, okay, and then I would look at keywords within that document, okay, and I would just put those keywords in a slide format with beautiful visuals and the rest of it, which would mean that the ownership of what I have written in the Word document would remain with me, and those keywords would just trigger me and the audience in thinking in a particular way. This would mean that I'm using the tool the way in which it is supposed to be used, and I'm actually owning the presentation by myself. Now, what does this allude to? So suppose I'm using AI, right? I'm not using AI to present AI, right? So the power then goes to the AI. So if as an account manager, what I have to do is make sure that I'm converting all of that into something that I own. Account managers have to understand that storytelling is our human way to actually communicate to other human beings. The moment storytelling becomes AI driven, it loses its emotional punch. What tends to happen is that if we are kind of communicating something without really owning it, without really owning the story, because we don't believe in the story, it falls flat. The biggest way in which I can learn storytelling is to make it as human as possible. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean that the trust that you can create is at two levels. The trust that maybe AI creates is at a functional level, which means that I trust that the general output is going to be reasonable, it's going to be professional looking, and the rest of it. At a functional level. The trust that a human being can create into another human being is at an emotional level. So it is connecting to a much deeper part of your brain that allows for you to actually say, nahi yaar, I like this person, which is why I'm working with him.
So as long as your end consumer is a human being, be it a consumer or be it a customer, right? As long as that person is a human being and all that you're not selling is perhaps machine oil or semiconductor chips, at the end of the day, your human always has to be there. So what you don't share with the AI or what you get out of AI and how you present it, at the end of the day, that has to come from the human intelligence rather than the artificial intelligence. Perhaps use artificial intelligence to make your story crisper, to make your data visualization happen better. Perhaps use better charts, but perhaps put that data in for something that is more effective or easier for the client to understand. But the way you explain it, right? The keywords in the PowerPoint presentation, what keywords that you use, that will be your discretion always, and that is what will set you apart from an AI or an ASI or whatever. At the end of the day, Einstein didn't become Einstein because he had a really good scientific calculator.
Wow, that is a good way to end this one.